Okay, good evening, everyone. We're just gonna give a couple of minutes for people to start tuning in. Again, we're gonna be having people in two fronts. We have some people connecting via Zoom and some people watching us on Facebook Live. So yes, it's going to be a very busy night handling all of the digital platforms. So just bear with us if we have any trouble. But yeah, we're just going to give a couple of minutes for people to start tuning in.
Great. I'm just going to get some water.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, guys, are you ready? I think I'm gonna start with the welcome.
Great.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in here with us today again. For those who have been part of the past sessions, and for those who don't know me yet, my name is Carla Garza. I am a part of the Sydney chapter here for Somos 21, and I'm originally from Mexico City. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land. Here in Sydney, where the three of us are, is home of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. For a little bit of context for those people that don't know a lot about Somos 21, Somos 21 is an organization, well, a non-profit organization that seeks to empower its members to create value by connecting and promoting collaboration between people from Australia and Latin America through our digital platform and the events that we organize in the cities that we have presence, both here in Australia and in Latin America. Um, a little bit of context of why all this series of virtual events came to life. It's because we, as an organization, were aware that the Latin American community was being negatively affected by the pandemic, but we really wanted to know a little bit more about what was the main needs and concerns of the community. So we launched a survey, and the results were very, very clear. People were not only worried about their physical health with the whole virus thing going on, but they were also worried about their mental health, which is why we have our mental health series. But also, a lot of people lost their jobs, and they were being in these crossroads, having to look for a new job. So this is why Elvira and Jasmine came together to compile this webinar and all this information for you guys to build your resumes, update everything, write your cover letters, and go and pitch for your next job. So before I introduce Elvira and Jasmine, I just wanted you to let you know that we want this sessions to be very interactive. So if you have any questions or any comments, please just write it on the comment box or on the chat for those of you that are tuned in on the Zoom meeting. And I'll make sure I read them to Elvira or Jasmine. So Elvira Lourenco is the founder of ELAJ Consulting Services. She has extensive knowledge in human resources management, and she speaks 5 languages, including Spanish. She has managed over 150 people from very diverse backgrounds whilst living and working in China, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Latin America. These experiences have given her a unique understanding of business culture and negotiation approach. On the other hand, Jasmine Slager is a cross-cultural organizational and counseling psychologist who is also a mediator, facilitator, and executive coach who owns her own company as well. With a solid background in human resources, learning and development, and also experience in the organizational development sector, she has helped hundreds of leaders and teams around the globe. She has worked with over 100 companies in Australia and internationally, and has developed many recruitment programs. So these ladies have a lot of information and a lot of tips to give you guys. So welcome, Elvira. Welcome, Jasmine. Thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here. Yes.
Yes, buenas tardes, mi gente. Nuestra gente.
Tudo bem, gente?
Oh, I wish I spoke Portuguese. It sounds so beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to first welcome you all. So this is the 4th session. We have had 3 sessions over the last 4 weeks. And we have touched on many topics that are very much of interest when you are building your resume, and we have given tips and advice and also interacted with some of you, providing you advice particular to your case that can be relevant to others who are listening. So welcome everyone. So in the first webinar, what Jasmine and I did is we looked at building your resume that would allow to take you in, that would allow someone looking at your resume, taking you into serious consideration. So we talked about the first page and the first 30 seconds when people look at your resume. Jasmine.
Yes, we did. We talked about the first 30 seconds because there's hundreds of resumes that cross your desk on a weekly basis, and you really only have 30 seconds to look at the first page of the resume. You'll scan the cover letter, but the most important thing will be the resume for you.
Yeah. We then talked about the resumes based on your industry, also recognizing your skills and knowledge that you bring to your employer. So this is where Jasmine and I, with all the experience that we have, we said that you can have transportable skills to different jobs. And I believe it was in session 3 and session 2 that we touched on that with some of you that had transportable skills, even though you had different experience. And Jasmine and I used 2 CVs that we went through to illustrate how that works. Jasmine.
Yeah, and we also were really clear that you should be able to follow your passion, and not to say that you're just a student or you're studying, but actually if you were an economist in Chile, you need to really focus on how those skills were transportable to Australia.
Yeah. So we then went on to recognizing your achievements in a previous job. It is important that that is also included in your resume. We then looked at some templates and provided a website that you could actually go into from the research that Jasmine and I had done. We looked at the website, Novo website, the fighting galactic unemployment. I think that was the
Yay.
slogan, which resonated with us. And we also discussed how in your resume it is important that you have 5 relevant skills to the job that you are applying. Jasmine.
Yeah, and make sure that those skills are the kind of skills that will contribute to the job that you're going to apply for. So you don't have the same skills over and over again. Your skills are adaptable. So let's say you come up with the fact that you've got 10 skills. Well, you're not going to put down you've got all the 10 skills. But if 4 of those skills contribute to, say, customer service, then you're going to put those skills down, like communication, like being able to be organized or whatever.
Yeah. So one of the important aspects was a competency pitch, as Jasmine just explained. That was very important to have that as part of your CV. And then the structure of your CV was something that we said was quite important. So in the 2 examples that we had, we talked about how you provide a profile or a summary of who you are. Then you go through your 5 key skills that define you as a professional. And then you would have your work experience. So you have extensive work experience, but it's important that when you have your work experience and you look at the companies that you've worked for, that you provide a little bit of background about each of the companies. Jasmine.
Yeah, you should never go in cold. You should always know who you're sending the resume to and know a bit about the person that you're sending it to. I can honestly tell you that when people come to see me, particularly for executive coaching, they know a lot about me already, and I do a lot of media work, so they'll have looked up everything I ever participated in. Because if you Googled me, I'd be on about 12 pages, but they know about me and they know what to expect. That's a really important thing, because if you show up and you go, oh, hi, Mrs. Smith. So, dear Mrs. Smith, thank you for whatever. And at least Mrs. Smith is acknowledged, but also, and more importantly, look at the company. What's the company done in the last 3 years? Why do you want a job with this company? Because that was always a question I always asked. Why do you want to work for our company? When I was setting up HR in companies and I was doing recruiting for them.
Yeah.
Why us?
Yeah. Sorry, Jasmine.
No, go ahead, sweetie.
I was agreeing with you, because people want to know how you project yourself with the company. So do you have a projection of 2 years? Do you have a projection of 5 years? Or are you going to live tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jasmine.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So that's important that people get a feel for that. And your resume will also demonstrate that in a way. So they will look at how many jobs you've had, how long you've stayed in those jobs, and what your key achievements have been in each of those jobs. We also talked last week about having a gap in your CV.
And what you do with that gap.
Yes, Jasmine.
No, it's all right.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Carry on. Okay. So we talked about having a gap in your CV, which most of you would probably have experienced that in your life. And you need to be honest. You need to be upfront about having a gap. But you need to be clear about how you are going to explain that gap. And you cannot explain extensively why that gap exists. It needs to be short and to the point. And it needs to be honest, because anybody looking at your CV will find out what the reason for that gap was. So if you have come from overseas to Australia, you are currently doing a diploma of project management, or you're doing a diploma or advanced diploma of leadership and management. that shows that you continue to do personal development. And this is important for people that look at your resume to understand that you are not sitting here doing nothing. You are actually improving yourself. Jasmine.
Yes, absolutely. So you need to be really clear, and absolutely, I agree with Elvira. You have to be honest about the time. What time have you spent? And you haven't been sitting on your hands if you've been taking care of your mother who has cancer, or if you've been, doing something like studying to pass an exam. It's especially a bar exam or a law exam. It's you have to be a bit clear to people. People will respect that about you if you're honest.
Yeah. And I think some of you, you have that gap. Why you have that gap? Because you are doing everything to get into your field, into your expertise. So you may be currently doing an accreditation or validation of your overseas qualifications. And that is a very valid gap reason why whilst you're studying, whilst you're validating and becoming accredited with your own qualifications from overseas, that might be a reason why you have not been able to currently, get the job that you want in your expertise area. So these are all valid reasons. The people will understand, and they will, have a very clear reason as to why that has happened.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I just wanted to add that usually when we see this, we often see from a corporate perspective, we see people that have spent time, that are new to the country, spending time on their career, trying to get in their career, passing an English exam, whatever it is. We see that as professional development. So we don't see it as a less than activity. We see it as being proactive about where you want to go with your career.
Yeah. And then we talked about functional and personal skills, and we also talked about action words. So what are the action words that portray functional skills, your functional skills? And what are the list of action words that portray your personal skills in your CV? And we discussed that this is important for you to be clear as to the power of words, if I can say that, and how they will be seen in your CV. How can you maximize those action words in your CV and make the difference? Jasmine.
Yeah, absolutely. And we gave, Carla, I did give you the action words and the functional words, didn't I, to put up on the website? I don't remember if I did.
I think you didn't, but just send it to me
Okay, I
after
will.
tonight's
Okay.
session and I can upload them.
Apologies. We put
No,
it
it's fine,
together,
no
but
problem.
I
I forgot
didn't.
as well, I think.
That's all right. It's all right. I need to send that. So I'll give that to Carla so she can put it up. Thanks,
Sounds good.
Carla.
No problem.
So some of the, for example, some of the functional skills that you may have, we talked about project management skills being a functional skill, because this is something that you can learn. It's a hard skill. You can obtain a qualification for that. We then talked about personal skills being your interpersonal skills or your communication skills, anything that is an ability that you may have that will portray that as a personal skill in your CV. Jasmine.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, those words are all very important. It's important to really make sure you have those skills anchored down.
Okay, and then we are today looking at a revision of some CVs that we have actually received from our great audience that we have. They have
Thank
been
you,
sent-
everybody.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate it. And Carla has been very diligent with sending us the information. And Jasmine and I have chosen 2 out of the many CVs that we received. So thank you very much, everyone, for it. Jasmine.
Elvira, before you start, you know what I was thinking, and it would be interesting to see. I had an executive coaching session with someone, and their company is quite strict in looking at their social media. And so they're not allowed to participate in certain social media, which of course I was a bit like, what do you say? But they were very strict at it. What is your, and maybe Carla too, what is your experience of social media? I know when I was an HR director, we had an inappropriate photo that was put up on Facebook at a company function, and it was really inappropriate. And really, in the scheme of things, it wasn't that big, but for the company, it was quite serious. So I needed to bring in the 2 parties involved and say, this is really an inappropriate photo. We need for you to take it down. So I do understand that companies are now more and more getting involved and will look you up in LinkedIn, will look you up in Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever, to see, what your brand is. Because we've talked a bit about brand. What are you guys' opinion on that? I'm curious.
Carla, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Honestly, I don't know if they have checked my social media, if I'm honest. Like they probably, personally, I try to keep all of my social media quite private. So like for example, on Facebook, I have my privacy settings very like just for the people that I actually am friends with to look at my stuff. So I think it also depends on how you want to have your social media accounts, whether you want to keep private or whether you have them in your information open to the public. I've heard of companies like you said, Jasmine, that they would, especially when people upload photos at company-related events, they can be pretty strict about it if it's like an inappropriate, or even if the photo involves alcohol, for example. I've heard about that a lot, but I haven't had any experiences like that personally.
Okay.
I always I think personally I would try to avoid posting stuff at work events, just to try to keep separate like my personal social media and my work life. But that's just me. I don't think it's wrong either. It's just trying to keep those 2 worlds separate, I guess.
Okay. Elvira?
Yeah, I think it's very important and quite useful information that Carla mentioned, to keep the 2 worlds separate. And I once spoke to a social media and marketing expert who said that oftentimes the advice that he gave for people who were looking for a professional job, whatever was their social life, they should use a nickname or something that wouldn't associate them to their professional life. I think in the end, in hindsight, you will be found out because you do have connections, people know you, and your photo is not only in your Facebook, it'll be reflected on other people that are connected to you. So I think that even though you may have a nickname associated that separates you from a professional life, your social life from a professional life, you still need to be careful, because those connections will, you can tag people when you are on Facebook. So I think the advice here is be aware of that. It is part of today's society. I agree with Jasmine completely. And it is what you want to portray in the end. I mean, sometimes if you are at a social party, no photos, please. It's like, this is my time. away from the social media, away from being connected and people seeing me, you know. So it's quite an issue that I think people need to think about.
Yeah, I think it's a question of your brand and your reputation, because brand and reputation are linked. And so however you want to come across, I know that for a fact that many years ago, I would get some of the stupidest interview questions, or somebody would want to interview me about the most stupidest things. And I thought to myself, do I want my brand to be out there talking about stupid things? Or do I want my brand and my reputation to be out there talking about the science of psychology, how it affects people, how we look and promote people, and how people can be their best self? That's what I want to promote in terms of my teaching and all the rest of it. So it does make a difference, even if you're my young age.
You are very young, Jasmine.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's important to have in mind that the internet is like whatever you put in the internet is going to be available for everyone to see. Like
Yeah.
that information is no longer only yours. So as long as you keep that in mind, like I don't think that it's because nowadays, like, it's a reality that people have social media and like we have this world and it's a big part of our lives. And I don't necessarily think that it's wrong to connect your professional life with your social media either, but just you have to be careful and you have to be very mindful of always trying to put up like positive content or stuff that is actually like good. Because I've been trying to think, and some of my past work friends sometimes can upload a photo at the Christmas party, for example, to their social media, and it's fine because it's just like a nice positive message of like it's okay. Just we have to be pretty careful of what content you upload and try to make it really positive, and be mindful of like weird, inappropriate situations. Avoid those things. I think that's my take on it.
Okay, thanks, honey.
So as a final message, Jasmine, I would say if you are applying for the job, make sure that your Facebook or social life talks to your LinkedIn, talks to who you want, how you want to be seen, as Jasmine said. What is your brand socially and professionally?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay, let's move on. Thanks for that, guys. I just wondered because it came up in my executive coaching session this morning, and I thought, oh, gee, we haven't covered that. So, Elvira, do you want to continue with the resumes? We were lucky enough to get Carla to send us some resumes, and we picked two. The two people that you'll see tonight on the resumes, I haven't finished because mine needs quite a bit of work, but it's that's a good thing because at least we've got some good material to work with. So I'm saying that from a perspective of that's at least we've got stuff to work with. So we're going to talk about these two, and I'm sure people out there will recognize themselves. And we've tried to de-identify them as much as we can. So, do you want to start?
Without further ado.
Without further ado. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. So the unidentified cover letter and CV that I will be going through, you will see some of the changes that I have made, and it'll be quite clear. So I'll go through the cover letter first and then the resume. Okay. So
honey, I wanted to ask you on when you corrected that, did you use track changes or did you use something else?
What I did is there is an option next to the underline.
That's what you did.
That is a line that crosses A and B.
That's
so
clever.
you can choose that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so let me share the cover letter first. Let's have a look here. I'm going to, this is the cover letter. Can everybody see the cover letter?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. My first comment, I know that sometimes you are doing a cover letter to have a template cover letter that you will use for other jobs. But one of the most important things about your cover letter is to personalize who it is addressed to. So do your homework. I think, as Jasmine said, talk to the company, make a phone call, find out who is going to receive this resume and cover letter. Yeah. I know that when something is addressed to me and is saying, "Dear Elvira," or "Hello, Elvira," then I feel that I really need to have a look at this. Somebody has, gone through the trouble of finding out who is going to receive that information. Okay. Then in the first paragraph, I changed that. When you are applying for the job, you are applying for the job because you are a professional, because you are someone that has experience, because you have something to contribute to that organization. And your first paragraph has to be a paragraph of strength. Yeah.
And can I just add there?
Yes, sure.
We were having a conversation, Elvira and I, about how when people are speaking in Spanish and they're talking to you and they're trying to be very polite and they say, "Sí, doctora, pero usted sabe, si usted pudiera ser muy amable para ayudarme en este sentido, entonces yo pudiera ser tan agradecida si usted pudiera ayudarme en este sentido," you know? And cut it. In English, that is ridiculous. So you get to the point, and like Elvira says, you start with strength because that's where you're coming from.
Yeah. And particularly this cover letter. I mean, this is a person that has 15 years experience. Hello, you are what we want. Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So I liked the second paragraph. So as a first paragraph, I take this opportunity to follow up with you on current employment opportunities, or further to an advertisement on seek.com.au for the position of, and as a corporate lawyer, I like that second paragraph because it describes who you are, what your experience is, and that you've been involved in projects, that you have worked in residential and commercial projects. And there was a comment said in there that said, "in my hometown." One of the things that Jasmine and I sort of agreed on, don't give information for free.
That's right.
Yeah. So when you are giving information, just go to the point and don't give too much information. When you are selected for an interview, then when you are asked all those questions, which we will go through in 2 more weeks, we will go through how to prepare yourself for an interview, then you can expand on that. But that very first cover letter needs to have sufficient information for people to know that you are knowledgeable and you have experience in the area. Okay. And I consider my practical and legal knowledge in these areas, as coupled with my background and my cross-cultural relationship management skill set. You know, cross-cultural, you are able to work in multiple cultures, multiple environments. Use the words to be able to enhance your cover letter and enhance what you are good at. That
and
would be my message.
And companies will always see you as an asset when you're able to actually relate to people, to different cultures, because they see that as an asset.
Absolutely. Yep. And then when we go to the third paragraph, so I am currently working as a contract administrator, and do not point out or don't give information for free. So you are going in a position of strength. You are in Australia. You have Australian experience. You don't need to point it out. You just put yourself out there with the experience that you have. So here, what I said is managing multidiscipline projects and deal with various subcontractors. That is a valuable information. The fact that you're able to manage and deal with several subcontractors. It could be plumbers, it could be electricians, it could be a number of subcontractors on a daily basis, as well as business processes, which would be a valuable contribution for your team. That's it. So don't, I preferred not to continue with that, but just finish it as contribution to your team. The fact that you say your team is, they already see in those words that you are, you have a teamwork culture. So use those words, personalize it. I want to be in your team. I want to be part of you. So people understand that, you know, that team culture or team member is within your perception. Jasmine.
Okay, nope, I agree with everything you say.
And then for the last, you are not grateful.
Yes, that's
thing,
like, ay, doctora, muchísimas gracias. No sabe lo amable que siento, you know.
Yeah.
Got it.
No, you say thank you, and that is enough.
And that's enough. Claro.
That's enough. It's like, you know, this letter is very professional. You have put the sufficient and valuable information about who you are as a professional.
That's right.
And so thank you for your time to review my resume application and consideration to positively contribute my knowledge and experience to your dynamic team and achieve your goals. Yeah. I want to be part of your team. I want to be part of your goals.
So you lead with strength and you end with strength.
Absolutely. Always in a position of strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, that last sentence is super powerful. I loved it.
Yeah, it is powerful.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's like, hey, I'm here. You will notice me once I'm part of your team.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're trying to tell them, like, you would be lucky to have me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also it starts to make me think as the reader, ah, she's a team person.
Yeah.
Ah, she's interested in my dynamic team. Ah, she's interested in helping me achieve my goals. Let me think about this. You see, it really, as the reader, it really kind of draws you in with this letter. So that's very good. Thank you, Elvira. That's great.
You're welcome. Would you like me to then go into the resume?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. So let me stop sharing this screen and I will now share the resume. Okay. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All good.
So let me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of, can everybody still see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So what I found most interesting about this resume is you not only have you worked in multidiscipline projects, but you are a multi-skilled person. I mean, you have to harness that. Your resume had a profile, then your qualifications, and then your work experience. From what we discussed with Jasmine, your first page has to be powwow, is the first 30 seconds. So it has to be a summary of who you are. Yeah. So don't put your summary background and then immediately your qualifications. No, use that first page, harness it, put what is really valuable about you. What is in that first page that they will not see in the other first pages? Okay. So in the profile, talk about you being a seasoned commercial international law practitioner with over 15 years experience providing executive level advice. I mean, you are seasoned. Seasoned means that you have been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
So you those 15 years, you are seasoned. That's it. I'm it. You are there. Yeah. So go through the consultation, ample experience in the modification and termination. Explain modification and termination of what? Of human resources contracts, of project contract agreements, what kind of modification and termination? Because the information that you put in there will spark an interest in the person that is reading this information.
That's right.
And structuring infrastructure projects. And in that same profile, talk about your languages. Talk about international law, covering which countries, where have you practiced international law. This is going to be very attractive and is what it will talk about you to the person who is reading your resume. And then in the key achievements, use those 3 multi-skilled disciplines that you have, where you have worked. So your key achievements as an international lawyer, your key achievements as a project manager, your key achievements as a contract administrator. So point out 3 very specific key achievements that you have. And for this particular resume, because you are multi-skilled in different disciplines, I would use it that way to enhance you. Yeah. And then your key skill set. So choose 5. You have 3 here, which are strong problem solving. If you are in law, definitely strong problem solving. And perhaps indicate something that you're very good at in problem solving. Human resources issues or contracts, project contract agreements with clients. What area? Negotiation. Have you had to negotiate with, let's say, a particular client or a subcontractor? Have you been in a position? So just put 1 or 2 sentences, and your communication skills goes without saying.
Yeah. Elvira, can you raise it up a little bit? Because I can't see the bottom. I can only see the top. Just scroll it down is what I mean.
Like this, Jasmine?
Yes, scroll down your CV, because I can't see the other key achievements. I can only see as far as international law.
I only had the 3.
Oh, okay.
So I only had the 3 in here, and the idea would be to put 2 more.
Oh, okay.
So for example, if I was going to give you advice about your key skill set, why don't you put time management?
Yes.
You've done project management. Risk management is also another area that is prominent in construction projects. So these are your key skill set that you can harness in your CV. And then I looked at the personal experience. So I will only provide information on the first one. In your professional experience, when you refer to a company, give a 2-line information about the company. Don't expect that people who are going to read your CV will go to google.com.au or google.com and look for the information. They don't want to do that. They want everything to be in that document.
Yeah. So therefore, you might say, if it's called the Smith Corporation, you might say the Smith Corporation was founded in 1869. The purpose of the company is blah blah blah. It manufactures whatever, and today it's a $220 million company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so you can get a feel for it. Doesn't have to be necessarily monetarily, but just 2 sentences so the reader can understand what the person's on, what the company it does, and
Yeah.
in what industry.
I mean, following on from what Jasmine said, it might be a company that had headquarters in one country
That's
and
right.
they are in 40 other locations around the
Mhm.
world,
Mm-hmm.
1,000 employees or something like that, so that they realize the magnitude of the organization where you worked. Even if it is a small organization, you know, whatever you put in there as your key achievements
Mm-hmm.
where you worked, it'll show who you are and what you've done.
Yeah,
And that might be attractive to the company.
sure.
So then here in yellow, I pointed out what would be the key achievement points that you should put. I think that you cannot put this many points as your key achievements because it becomes too busy.
Can you put the points up on the screen?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think it's showing only the top part of the document. I'm not sure.
So if you scroll it down,
Just scroll
like
down. Exactly.
like that?
nope,
It's not moving for us.
it's not
It's
moving
not.
for us.
Okay. Just one moment. I think it
Yep.
has been paused and I will share the screen again.
Okay, great.
Okay, if I share it, can you see it now?
Aha,
There it is.
perfecto.
I was a little bit lost.
Mil gracias. Okay.
Okay, so I'll go back. Can you
Okay,
see
go
that?
back a little bit. Can you go back to the previous page?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's it. There you go. That's what I was looking at. Contract administrator. Okay, that's
Yes.
why you talked about those three things.
Sorry
get
about that. I didn't
that's
realize that
okay,
it
honey.
had stopped. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, now you can take me
So-
back to where I was.
Okay. So in the professional experience,
Mm-hmm.
this many points is too busy for someone to look at.
Yes, no time.
They will have no time and they'll probably skim over it.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to use that space to maximize important information. I think 5 dot points that, you know, give some important information. From everything that you provided, I chose in yellow what I thought would be relevant for the position that you had as contract administrator. So schedule and coordinate goods purchase, deliveries, and storage installations, and call for contractor quotes against the project's brief and scope. So those two I would put as purchasing manager, procurement manager, something that shows that you
procurement
deal.
would be good. Yep.
Yeah, procurement, and you deal with suppliers. You deal with subcontractors. You deal with deliveries. You deal with deadlines. Okay? So use your keywords. You do not have to go into this much detail. When you talk about the project's brief and scope, it tells me that you've got project management skills, that you've got project management language, which is very valuable to include that as your key achievements. Then you talk about provide legal opinions for the business and resolve issues regarding agreements. What type of agreements? Talk about the agreements. Indicate what type of agreements they are. And then you've got dollar figures in there and 15 commercial contracts. Yes, I love that. KPIs, people look at numbers and reflect important information about you. Yeah, or of what you have been part of as your key achievements. And then at the end of that, after your experience, I would go then to education, academic activities, teaching and publication. I thought that was fantastic, absolutely great. Additional information, systems experience, and references upon request.
Yeah.
So this is what I would suggest to make a few of the changes for your CV. Okay.
Fantástico. Mil gracias.
Yeah, those were super good tips.
Okay. Now, do I have time to show one of mine, Carla?
It's 8:20, so yeah, we have 10 minutes.
Okay. I'm just going to do the cover letter. and just show the comparison between the cover letter and the CV. Okay. And by the way, all the best to the person who's the lawyer, because man, honey, you've got a lot going for you. I think that's one of the, I want to say it's humbling to see such great talent, and people not being aware of how talented they are. It just is amazing. But let me show you this interesting case. Okay, so first of all, there was a, let me see if I can find it here. There was a cover letter. Let me try the cover letter. And the cover letter was, somebody that was applying. She's in Victoria, applying. Dear HR manager, I'm writing to express interest in the position of call center customer service specialist. Thank you for taking the time to consider my application. Ah, doctora, mil gracias. Is everybody seeing this, by the way?
No, we are not.
Oh, okay, because it's funny. I love it. Okay.
You're doing an Elvira.
Yeah, I know. Okay. All right. Now I got my act together, everybody. I'm writing to express interest in the position of call center customer service specialist. Thank you for taking the time to consider my application, doctora. I have a degree in communication and advertising and experience in customer service. I have excellent communication skills, problem solving, and highly organized. Too much space here. Should I be considered for this position, I can contribute to your organization with the following skills and experience. I'm confident in all aspects of customer service, compliance, have good computer skills. Then she talks about her excellent communication skills, determination, and confidence. This can be phrased in a different way. You don't say you have confidence. Your confidence shines from you. It is a feature of how you present yourself, but you can name it in a different way. Resolve customer problems and queries within agreed service levels. Excellent service skills by engaging with customers. She means consumers, I'm sure. Creating long-lasting relationships, time management. Throughout my career, I have built an excellent reputation for being reliable, loyal, and I'm committed to delivering work beyond the expected standard. Colleagues in management have found me to be creative, approachable, self-motivated. I will welcome the opportunity, doctora, to demonstrate these qualities in person and would be pleased to make myself available at your convenience to discuss. If I'm so lucky that you will call me. Okay, now that's, okay, that is, I'm kidding, but that is the cover letter. Now have a look at this, guys. This is really interesting. This is the, well, let me stop sharing here and get my act together again. Okay. And this is what I did with the cover letter. Dear HR manager, must be named here. I would like to apply for the position of call center customer service specialist. I've developed, and now I did this cover letter first, assuming that the cover letter and the resume were the same. I have a degree in communication and advertising and experience in customer service. I believe I can contribute to your organization because I understand all aspects of the customer service experience, from interpersonal skills to compliance to computer skills. Again, I'm using all her words, I'm just using them differently. I also have the following skills and experience. Excellent written and verbal communication skills, I was more specific. Resolve customer problems and queries within agreed service levels. Ability to build rapport and engage with customers, thus creating valuable relationships for companies. Experienced organizer who practices time management. Throughout my career, I have built an excellent reputation for being reliable, loyal, and committed well beyond the expected standard. Colleagues in management have found me to be creative, approachable, and self-motivated. I would welcome the opportunity to meet with you and discuss my knowledge, skills, and experiences in the customer service area further. Please call me. Okay? Now, I'll stop sharing this because the shock of my life was when I saw the resume. And I'll just see if I can get the resume up, because I'm not going to go over this resume because I think this person in Victoria, and I'll speak to them directly, is a little confused about what they want to apply for. So this is their executive summary. A working professional with 5 years experience in administration and customer service in Australia. Communications expert with more than 8 years of experience in public relations, marketing, journalism, and TV. Passionate about facilitating connections between groups through engaging communication pieces, organized, creative, proactive, and resourceful to find solutions from a communication perspective. Now, could you read that? No.
No.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm doing an Elvira. So as you can see, this executive summary has nothing to do with being a call center customer service person. Nothing to do with it. And has education and professional quals, which they spelled professional wrong. And then they have project summary, and I'm not sure where this is from. On one side, they have hospitality. On the other side, they have telecommunications. Then they add journalism. Then they start writing many, many points about things. So you get lost in this resume. But what I'd like to do with this resume, because I think that this person is very talented, they just are not following what their passion is, whether it's marketing, whether it's journalism, whatever it is, they're not following what they love. So what we'd like to do, Elvira and I, is we would like to have a little play with this resume. And both of us, as you can see, when we edit things from two completely different ways. She uses one thing to edit, I use another thing. But what's beautiful is that we both have a concert of, we're both in concert about how we're going to do things. So I'd like to present this next time. I just wanted to show you what an incredible difference it is between the cover letter and the actual resume, because they're big differences. Elvira, did you want to speak to anything of that I've just said?
Yeah, I completely resonates with me. Don't be afraid to follow your passion. I think one of the most important things about your resume, because when you're going to sit on that chair for the interview, if they don't see that you're passionate about what you've written, forget it. You will not get the job. You will not get the job. And
yeah,
it's okay to have short-term goals and long-term goals. And maybe your short-term goal is to get a job that gets you by for the time being, but you will have a professional resume for your passionate interest and work on that and continue to send your professional resume with what you are passionate about whilst you have a job that maintains you until someone says, this is the person that I want. They're passionate about their job, about what they want to do in life. I want that person working with me.
Yes, and I think that when you don't speak English well, and I promise you that I have people that edit my work here in the office, so make sure that you have English speakers editing anything that goes out, because it's much better and you'll feel better about yourself knowing that somebody has looked and caught the typos or caught the misspelled words. And I think that's it for me tonight. I'm sorry I went over, Carla, but we can.
No, it's totally okay. It's been a lot of information, and that's exactly what we want, guys. We want to squeeze out all of those valuable tips and information from you. And something that I noticed, and something that I did myself, is that sometimes we want to build a very generic resume. So like, because we just want to apply for a lot of jobs with the same resume, and like as you guys said in past sessions, that does not work. Applying for your job is a full-time job on itself. Like, you
Yes.
have to actually take the time to tailor your resume to the job that you're applying for, because if you're doing that strategy of having like a generic one, it's not gonna work. Like, it didn't work for me either. So,
Yeah.
and like, that's exactly what you guys have been telling us. Like, take the time to tailor make each one of your resumes and each one of your cover letters specifically for the job you're going to apply.
Yeah.
And like, that's going to be a much more better strategy than just like shooting your resume out there and shooting, like, maybe you can do 100 applications in a day, but there might not be good quality. So it's maybe better to do 5 in a day, but make sure that they are good quality, and it's going to be like way better for you.
Yeah, Carla, and what you say is important, because let's say, for example, you worked for a bank and you had 15 different points of achievements you have, but not all those achievements are going to be important when you're applying for a customer service call center. So what you do is you have that list on your PC, but you only draw the ones that are pertinent to that particular job you're applying for.
Yeah.
That's it.
Also, that profile part, that's so key. Like, I'm thinking of it as your movie trailer.
Yeah.
Like, you literally put the best stuff about you in a little paragraph to keep the people intrigued, and like for them to want to keep reading the rest of your resume. Just like
Yeah.
shoot everything the best you have. Literally think that's your movie trailer. When
That's
you watch a
right.
movie trailer, you have 1 minute to decide if you want to watch a 2-hour long movie. That's
That's
it. I think it's exactly the same. Like,
that.
shoot the
Yes.
best, and
Yes.
then like you can build from there.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what's so wonderful about these two resumes that we chose, is that they're both very talented people, very talented. It's just that they need to harness those talents for what they want to apply for. And hopefully in this last one, we'll do that beginning of next time.
That's right. All right, guys.
Absolutely.
I think it's time to wrap it up for tonight. Unfortunately, we are a little bit over time, so we are not going to be able to do questions today. But let me just share my screen with our contacts. So if you have any questions that you want to ask Elvira and Jasmine, just shoot me an email. Give me a sec. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Just shoot me an email or a message on any social media, and we'll make sure we touch those questions on our next session. Also, announcement, next Tuesday is going to be a day off, so we're going to start our next section of this masterclass series in 2 weeks time. So we're closing with the resume things tonight, and in 2 weeks time we're going to start with all the interview process
Yes.
and how to prepare.
Yes. And we'll start with the resume that we didn't get to tonight. And then we'll go right into setting up interviews.
All right. Also,
Okay.
we have a lot of people asking about the past sessions. We do have the sessions on the Facebook. Only the second session, we only did it on Zoom, but I have the video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. So, and then link it to the Facebook, so you can actually watch all of the first 3 sessions of this masterclass series for you.
Yes, and it's important for all of you to really give us feedback. If you feel that you've gotten something out of it, please send Carla some feedback, because I think we're going to try this again and start the series again. Would love to get all the feedback we can, both positive and not so positive, because we want it to be interactional. We want people to really ask us questions, and we want it to be as as calm as possible to deal with something that's really important in your life.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. We are doing these sessions for you guys. So if you
Yeah.
have anything that you want to see or anything that you
Mhm.
liked, what you haven't liked, please let us know, and literally just approach us, and we will try to do our best for
Mhm.
all of your requests. Well, I think it's time to wrap it up, guys. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Elvira, for another
Thank
incredible
you.
session.
Thank you, Elvira. You did a great job.
Thank you,
Thanks, honey.
Jasmine.
It was really good,
Thank you
and
to all the participants.
see you no, not next week. See you in 2 weeks' time. Same time, 7:30
Same
for the
bat
next session.
station. Yep.
Awesome.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys. Have a great night, everyone. Stay
Yes. Have a
safe.
good night. See
Bye,
you.
everyone. Stay safe.